You think you know your own body. You wake up. You breathe. You eat. You walk around. You go to sleep. Pretty normal stuff, right? Yeah. Not exactly. Because your body is doing some seriously messed up things behind the scenes. Things you probably never think about. And some of them are so disturbing they sound like something straight out of a horror movie. Except they're real. No ghosts. No demons. No creepy internet legends. Just your body. Doing things that are absolutely terrifying when you actually stop and think about them. And trust me, the last one is the kind of fact that's gonna stick in your head tonight. Let's get into it. Number 7. Your brain can convince you that you're already dead. Imagine waking up one morning. You can see your room. You can hear someone talking to you. You can feel your hands. You can feel your heartbeat. Everything seems normal. Except you're completely convinced that you're dead. Not sick. Not dying. Dead. You might even believe your organs are gone. That your blood has disappeared. Or that your body is literally rotting from the inside. Sounds impossible, right? But there's a rare condition called Cotard syndrome where people can genuinely develop beliefs like this. And here's the messed up part. You can't just tell someone with Cotard syndrome, dude, you're obviously alive. Because to them, the evidence doesn't matter. Their brain has created an entirely different reality. Some patients have insisted that they're dead even while they're standing in front of another person and talking to them. Others believe specific organs no longer exist. Imagine looking at your own hands and somehow believing they aren't really yours. That's not a horror story. That's what a human brain can do when something goes seriously wrong. And honestly, if your own brain can convince you that you're dead while you're still alive, that's a pretty terrifying reminder of how fragile reality can be. Number 6. After you die, your body can still move. Yeah. You heard that right. And no. I'm not talking about zombies. After death, the body goes through a long series of chemical and physical changes. Muscles change. Tissues break down. Joints loosen. And as decomposition progresses, parts of the body can actually shift position. Researchers have literally recorded this happening with time-lapse cameras. In one study, a human donor was observed for 16 months during decomposition. The researchers found movement in all of the limbs. One anatomical structure moved more than 50 centimeters. That's over 1.5 feet. And here's where this gets creepy. If investigators find a body in a different position from where they think it was originally left, they have to consider whether some of that movement happened naturally after death. So imagine walking into a crime scene. You see a body, you assume somebody moved it. But the body itself may have shifted during decomposition. No killer needed. No paranormal explanation. Just chemistry, gravity, and a body slowly breaking itself down. Number 5. There's a parasite that can literally hijack your brain. Meet Toxoplasma gondii. It's a parasite that's extremely common around the world. And here's the wild part. Its life cycle depends on cats. So the parasite needs to get back into a cat somehow. And researchers have studied whether infection can change the behavior of some animals in ways that make them less afraid of cats. In rodents, infected animals can show changes in their response to cat-related cues. Basically, something inside the animal can alter behavior in a way that benefits the parasite. Now here's where I want to be really clear. Scientists are still debating what all of this means for humans. So no, I'm not gonna tell you that your cat secretly controls your mind. But the basic biology is real. A microscopic organism can get inside a host and interact with its nervous system. Something you can't see. Something you can't feel. Something that can potentially change how a living creature behaves. And that is one hell of a creepy thought. Number 4. Rabies doesn't just make you sick. It attacks the brain. And once the symptoms show up, you're basically in a race against the clock. Rabies can sit inside the body for weeks or even months before symptoms appear. Then things can get seriously ugly. Confusion. Agitation. Hallucinations. Problem swallowing. And one of the most infamous symptoms. Hydrophobia. A fear of water. But here's the creepy part. It's not simply that the person is scared of water. The disease can cause painful spasms when they try to swallow, so even something as basic as drinking can become terrifying. And once clinical symptoms appear, rabies is nearly always fatal. That's what makes this virus so disturbing. You can get exposed. Feel completely fine. Go on with your life. And meanwhile, the virus is slowly making its way toward the nervous system. By the time you realize something is seriously wrong, it may already be too late. Number 3. There's a disease where losing sleep can eventually kill you. It's called fatal familial insomnia. And yeah, the name sounds like somebody came up with it for a horror movie. They didn't. It's a real, extremely rare prion disease. People with it develop progressive problems with sleep. And we're not talking about one bad night. Or pulling an all-nighter. Or surviving on 3 hours of sleep because you had work in the morning. We're talking about the brain progressively losing its ability to produce normal sleep. As the disease progresses, the body starts losing control over basic automatic functions. Things like temperature, heart rate, sweating. Eventually, the neurological damage becomes severe. And the disease is fatal. There's something deeply disturbing about this one. Because sleep is something you don't normally have to think about. You close your eyes. Your brain takes over. You disappear for a few hours. But imagine your brain slowly losing the ability to do that. And every night you lie there knowing your body desperately needs sleep. But it just won't let you have it. That's nightmare fuel. Number 2. A tiny organism can enter through your nose and attack your brain. This one sounds completely made up. It isn't. It's called Naegleria fowleri. You've probably heard the nickname. The brain-eating amoeba. It lives in warm freshwater. Lakes. Rivers. Hot springs. And in extremely rare cases, contaminated water can enter through the nose. The amoeba can then travel toward the brain and cause a devastating infection. And once the infection starts showing symptoms, things can move incredibly fast. Headache. Fever. Nausea. Vomiting. Confusion. Hallucinations. Seizures. Coma. And death. The CDC says infections are extremely rare. In the United States, there were 167 reported cases from 1962 through 2024, with only 4 survivors. So this isn't something you should be freaking out about every time you go swimming. But that's not what makes it scary. What makes it scary is how ridiculously ordinary the exposure can be. You're swimming. You're having fun. You're literally just enjoying the water. And something microscopic that you can't see can enter through your nose. That's it. Number 1. Your body can turn itself into wax after death. This one sounds fake. But forensic scientists know it as adipocere. Sometimes called grave wax. Under certain conditions, especially when a body is exposed to a cold, wet, low-oxygen environment, body fat can chemically transform into a waxy substance. Instead of decomposing in the usual way, parts of the body can become preserved in this strange, wax-like material. And here's why forensic investigators care about it. Adipocere can slow down decomposition and preserve parts of a body for a surprisingly long time. Which means a body doesn't always decompose the way you see in movies. Sometimes nature basically hits pause. A body can be recovered months or even years later with unusual preservation caused by this process. And investigators have to figure out what happened to the body. Where it was. How long it was there. And what conditions it was exposed to. So when you hear the word decomposition, don't picture one simple process. A dead body isn't just sitting there and disappearing. It's going through a complicated chemical transformation. And sometimes that transformation can literally turn human fat into wax. Which brings us to the part I want you to remember. Your body is not some perfectly controlled machine. It's more like a ridiculously complicated system that's constantly fighting to keep itself together. Your brain can convince you that you're dead. Your body can move after death. A parasite can manipulate the behavior of an animal. A virus can travel toward your brain without you knowing. A rare disease can destroy your ability to sleep. A microscopic organism can attack your brain through your nose. And after death, your own body chemistry can preserve parts of you in wax. None of that needs ghosts. None of it needs monsters. And that's probably the creepiest part. Because sometimes the scariest thing in the room isn't hiding under the bed. It's happening inside you. Right now.